They said the lodge was rustic, nestled deep in the snow-covered Alps, miles from any modern convenience. To James Braxton, billionaire tycoon, it was perfect. It was the kind of place where men threw axes, downed mead by the fire, and laughed in the face of frostbite. James was looking for one thing, an authentic experience for his young son, Charlie, after last year's unforgettable glimpse of a Krampus parade. The boy had been terrified, sure, but fascinated. The kind of fascination that turned into dreams and endless questions about the horned beast of Christmas lore. This year, James went all out, renting the finest lodge overlooking the remote end of the parade route. Charlie had been ecstatic, pointing at every masked figure, clutching his father's hand tightly as drums pounded and flames danced in the icy air. It was everything James had hoped for, a Christmas memory to last a lifetime. But memories have a way of slipping into nightmares. The morning after the parade, James woke to an eerie silence. No cartoons blaring from the lodge's vintage TV. No muffled giggles of Charlie trying to sneak candy before breakfast. The bed beside his was neatly made. No sign of his son. James called out, his voice echoing through the lodge. The housekeeper claimed there was no Charlie. The lodge owner, a burly man with a thick beard, looked James dead in the eye and said, "You came here alone, mate." Frustration turned into panic as James retraced their steps. The parade route, the snowy trails, the dining hall, all barren of Charlie's presence. Strangers looked at him with pity, like he was drunk or insane. It was then James noticed something chilling. Charlie's belongings were gone. The backpack, the favorite stuffed reindeer, even his toothbrush, all absent, as if the boy had never existed. Desperation took hold. James, convinced his son had been abducted, hired a private investigator to track down the truth. He paid handsomely for discretion and results. A week later, the PI returned with a grim face, his hands trembling as he handed James a folder. Inside were police reports, newspaper clippings, and something James couldn't reconcile with reality. "Your son, Charles Braxton," the PI stammered, "was abducted 3 years ago. You paid a ransom, but they killed him anyway. I'm sorry, but you've been living without him for years. This lodge trip, you came alone." James's head spun. No, he remembered Charlie. His voice, his laughter, the warmth of his hand on parade night. But the photos didn't lie. There was the grainy image of a young boy, bound and scared. Then the autopsy report, a body recovered in a river miles away. Reeling, James staggered into the lodge's bar, pouring glass after glass of mead as the laughter and axe-throwing around him blurred into a cacophony of chaos. That's when he saw it, a flicker of movement in the lodge mirror. Behind him, a hulking shadow loomed, horned, hooved, cloaked in fur. Its eyes burned like coal as it raised a taloned hand and beckoned. James spun around, but the bar was empty, the fire crackling low. In his haze, James stumbled to his room, collapsing into a restless sleep. That night, he dreamed, or perhaps remembered. The parade wasn't a celebration, it was a ritual, a bargain. And he'd brought Charlie as an offering. The boy's terror wasn't fascination, it was fear. A primal instinct recognizing that the Krampus doesn't just punish children, it takes them. James awoke to a scratching sound at his door. He opened it to find a small figure standing in the snow, Charlie. But the boy wasn't the same. His face was pale, his eyes hollow, and his voice, it was a low, guttural growl. "You traded me," the boy hissed. "And now it's your turn." The last thing James saw was the towering figure of the Krampus behind his son, its claws stretching toward him as the lodge was consumed in shadow. Do you believe in Krampus? If your child disappeared and no one remembered them, what would you do? Would you keep searching, or would you question your own sanity? Share your thoughts, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because the next story might just find you.